Alright, this is going to be a video on the easiest way I've found to remove your swap or just the transmission, depending on whatever you're working on your Honda. I'm going to start out by getting this cotter pin out of here, and then you want to get this nut loose. And then an easy way, if you don't have a ball joint separator, to get this apart, you got a hammer. I'm going to hit it. You can see like a little indention right here. Try to hit here, right in this area. It's going to take you quite a few hits, but as you can see, some of them get really stuck on there. But as you can see, that one's come loose, so then you can thread your nut the rest of the way off of here. Just pick the hub up out, and then next we're going to get a pry bar behind the axle, and we're gonna get in there and pop it out. Once the axle starts to slide out a little bit, just go up with the hub, pull your axle out. I'll be doing the same process over here. Basically, we're gonna loosen this nut on your ball joint and go back with a hammer again, break it loose. Get the pry bar between the case of your transmission and the face of the axle. Just make sure you're not on the seal at all, because you don't want to damage that. And then as soon as you get it out, any at all, you should be able to come back over here. On mine, I'm going to go ahead and remove both axles from the hub, like I already have. Just the nut out there on the end. I believe it's like a 32 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. But you don't have to take these off. If you do decide to take the nut off the end of your axle, this is the best way to rest everything to ensure you don't damage any parts. Just pull the axle back as far as it can go up against the strut, and then you can rest your disc brake right here on the shaft of the axle. That way it's not damaging your boot. While we're down here, once your downpipe is disconnected, we got 3 bolts on the T-bracket we're going to be able to do from underneath. You got one here, and the one back here that actually goes to your motor mount. next thing to do here is going to be the shift linkage. You got a 10mm bolt here, and then under this boot there's going to be a dowel pin that you're going to have to hammer out. The way the dowel pin is on this, it's sticking out just a little bit towards the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's enough room to where you can get a punch or something in the top. I think they're supposed to come out the bottom, but you can't really get in there right now with this T-bracket on here, and we got a bolt we're gonna have to get to from in the engine bay, so we'll save that for later. I'm gonna grab this motor mount way over here. Get that mount. This motor mount right here. We'll get that one. And go ahead and get your AC compressor off if you have one. I already took mine off and have it hanging. But yeah, once we get that bolt and those two mounts, we'll be able to go up top and go ahead and get this T-bracket off, and then come back underneath and get this linkage off. Now we're back up top. I'm gonna disconnect all three of these for your wiring harness on your engine. You got, should be another three right here, I think. Yeah, three right there that you want to disconnect. Then you're also wanting to disconnect this wire that runs right along into here. It's going to be an 8mm, and then once you get that disconnected, you're going to undo all these plastic clips. Anything that holds this to the body, we're going to lay this over on the engine, and the harness is going to go with the car. It makes it a whole lot easier. You don't have to run around disconnecting everything and trying to figure out where the plugs go back when you get done. But I'll go ahead and set the camera down and start getting all that stuff disconnected. Sure that you have disconnected your battery. That way when you take this main lug off your starter right here, because you want to take it off. I've already disconnected my starter because this engine was locked, wasn't turning. I was trying to ensure the starter wasn't locked up. But you want to undo your battery, and then you're going to take this off. That way this wire can stay in here with the car. engine side of the harness from the body should be 10mm bolt, one on each side. Take them out right here. Tuck them in the top of the engine. It'll be out of the way. This comes out. Disconnects the throttle cable. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just take out these 10mm bolts so I don't have to mess with adjusting my throttle or the idle when I put it back together. You can take out these 12mm or back this one 12mm nut down to here, and you can just slide the cable out, move it out of the way, but I think it's easier just to do this. Less adjustment later. It'll save you some time. All the lines connected to it. I like to leave everything connected as much as possible. Saves you a whole lot of work later. Look at getting this T-bracket bolt. It's hard to see, but it's right here. 17mm. good trick for any stuck hose like that. If you get you some channel locks, open it up big enough where you can grab onto the hose. Don't grip it too tight, but just tight enough that you can turn the hose. And the hose should turn on the spout a little bit. And when it does, you can pull it right off, just like that. Line right here for your brake booster. You got the evap canister back here. The evap canister, any lines that connect to your engine from that, and your heater core hoses. Make sure to get all those. Got a line right here. We're gonna get off. It goes to that evap canister. On your throttle body right there. Get that off. Okay. Got a small one that runs over here. This little sensor. Not 100% sure what that's called. It's right here on the back. It runs over to your evap canister. You want to make sure you unhook that one. Disconnect this line from our fuel return on the fuel rail. I couldn't get a good view of it, but I got the dowel pin out using that 10mm bolt. I didn't have a punch the right size. But I couldn't record it while I was doing it, but I just kind of put this 10mm up here on the top like this with the shift linkage on there. Put down that hole. I got up above that and was hitting it. You got a good open area now that we got the T-bracket out of there. So I just use the hammer and that 10mm bolt and just hammered it out. Now we can go to the top and hopefully shouldn't have to come down here anymore. The last thing I'm going to do is, sometimes you can get this to thread out. I cannot this time, so I'm going to have to take my whole AC bracket off. So I'm going to take those 4 14mm bolts in there out, and then we go to the top. Motor will be ready to come out. Alright, we got our cherry picker on here to hold some of the weight of the motor up, so we can go ahead and take our last 2 motor mounts out, and then we can lift it on up out of there. Got those out. I'll start easing the motor up, making sure nothing's hanging on the way out. Have to kind of make sure, pull your power steering lines out of the way. Make sure you don't snag on it. It's a little tight, but once you get up past that, you should be okay. This actual bracket off the transmission, just to make it a little easier to come out. There you have it. That is the fastest way I have found to remove single cam engine from the 92 to 2000 Civic and Del Sol.